Hello, beautiful people. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about here today. The trade of Joe Flacco, we will discuss quickly. Talk about how that impacts fantasy football. A lot of injuries that we have to keep our eye on. There's a lot of great potential, spot starts due to injured players. But obviously, if those Chuba Hubbards, Bucky Irvings come back, then it'll put people in some difficult positions. But I appreciate you guys so much for being here with me. Do me a favor, hit that like button to show some love. We do have a giveaway today. If you'd like to enter the giveaway, very simple. All you got to do is like the stream and then type week 6 into the chat, all one word. And once you've done those two things, you'll be officially entered into the giveaway. Now, it is important for you to note that every 75 likes we reach, we'll do a giveaway. So just want to make sure that we're all on the same page there. Every 75 likes we reach, we will do a giveaway. Appreciate you guys for being here with us. Welcome in from wherever in the world you are from. Appreciate y'all for joining us. Let's quickly discuss the Joe Flacco trade. Now, I haven't had a chance to go into my rest of season rankings yet and update where I view Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So I think it's important for us to look at that together today. Now, with the here's what I want to say about Joe Flacco. Okay, Joe Flacco in the past has been the king of slinging it to his receivers, not caring if there's an interception, just letting that ball fly, right? Without care, without abandonment. And that is why we have just loved him for fantasy football. You saw that with Garrett Wilson in New York. You've seen that in the past with the Cleveland Browns, not necessarily this year. It's not really working out that way this year, but you've seen that on plenty of teams, right? Now, obviously, this is not negative because it's change. You're going from Jake Browning to a different veteran in Joe Flacco, and Joe Flacco's had more success with his fantasy receivers. However, what I want you guys to keep in mind is, and I've said this many times on our channel, is if you watch these Bengal games and you're watching the Cincinnati Bengals operate, I'm not 100% sure if you put a different quarterback behind that offensive line, if the results would have drastically changed. These games that Jake Browning has started, there has been zero time in the pocket whatsoever. I mean, this man is snapping the ball, and if it's Joe Burrow behind the offensive line, he's one of the best at the quick release, the snap decision, the quick, right? He's such a high IQ quarterback. When you put Jake Browning behind that offensive line, it results in a lot of sacks, turnovers, panic plays. Now, if anybody's been watching the Cleveland Browns this year, first off, I'm sorry. Secondly, you will notice Joe Flacco is at an all-time low from a mobility perspective. This man is a statue in the pocket. So I am not telling you that this isn't going to make a difference. It will. But what I am saying is I'm not 100% sure how drastic that difference is going to be. Yes, it's probably an upgrade over Jake Browning, but Jake Browning was letting it fly too. However, getting Joe Flacco and putting him behind this Bengals offensive line, I'm not 100% confident it's going to make... It's going to be better, but Joe Flacco's going to be in probably the worst situation from an offensive line perspective in his entire career right here in Cincinnati. So obviously, yes, the wide receivers improve. He gets Jamar Chase around him, Joe Burrow. But you have to keep in mind that the offensive line is probably the worst in the league. I mean, I got to charge my mouse real quick. Sorry, guys. But I think we could all agree that the offensive line is going to be a huge problem. So, yes, it is great because it's change. It's something different. But no, I don't think we can go ahead and say, well, now Jamar Chase is going to be scoring 22 points a game like he did last year. Sure, it's a possibility, but I don't think that's the most likely outcome. So when we think about rest of season rankings, I had Jamar Chase at 19 before this trade. AJ Brown is definitely too high. We'll have to change that later on. But man, I am asking myself, do I prefer Chase or Zay Flowers? Probably Zay Flowers, because the Bengals will always be in passing situations. Do I prefer Chase or T-Mac? Probably Chase. I think this is kind of where I'm settled with Chase right now. Wide receiver 14, right? So I think that's where I would view him rest of season, behind the Suttons, Garrett Wilsons. So it's definitely an improvement, right? But I think Joe Flacco is going to be in hell behind that offensive line still. Now, I think T. Higgins is going to improve as well. I'm not sure how much. Like, yeah, I want T. Higgins over Jameson at this point. I probably still prefer Jordan Addison. Do I want T. Higgins or DJ Moore? T. Higgins or Myers, Olave, Keenan, Ladd, Ricky, DK, Terry. I'm not sure I prefer T. Higgins over any of these other names. So you guys let me know. I mean, do you think this is fair? T. Higgins, wide receiver 38. I'm not sure I'm going to move him up too much. When Mike Evans is back, I want Mike Evans. I think I probably prefer Jordan Addison at this point. Chris Godwin, maybe. It's going to take a while for him to be himself. DJ Moore, maybe. Jacoby Myers. I mean, I think you can put him... Really, this tier should probably start like with Jacoby Myers. Between Jacoby Myers, DJ, Godwin, Addison, Evans, you could put him at the top of this tier if you want. I probably prefer most of these names, though, at this point. Let me know if you guys disagree. Now, again, this is an upgrade, okay? But this doesn't fix the offensive line. What this definitely helps, no doubt about it in my mind, is Chase Brown. Okay? I absolutely think this helps Chase Brown in a big, big way. I'm going to move him up, let's say 3 spots to running back 26 rest of season. And the reason I say that is because Joe Flacco was heavily targeting his running backs in Cleveland. And with the offensive line being awful in Cincinnati, I would be shocked if Chase Brown isn't getting like 5 targets per game or something like that. I would be genuinely shocked if that's not the case. So he definitely has a big upgrade there. But appreciate y'all for being here with us. We've got plenty of questions to answer on the Flock site. If you want to prioritize yourself, you can check out the pinned comment. And that's a great way to both support the show and prioritize your question. Kind of skip the queue, make sure you get a reply. Everybody who asks a question on the site with us at Fantasyland, guarantee reply. And the best part is you don't have to wait around for when your question is answered. Our devs send you a link to exactly the time code to when your question gets answered. But again, I appreciate y'all for being here with us. Do me a favor, hit the like button. In fact, if you want to join today's giveaway, all you have to do to enter is like the stream and type week 6 into the chat, all one word, and then you'll be officially entered. But let's go ahead and let's dive into some of these questions here. Sale M. Quatish is sending away Bucky Irving and Matthew Golden for Judkins and Olave. This is interesting. Bucky is unlikely to play this week. I wouldn't rule him out, but it would be surprising to me if Bucky Irving plays, right? Now, the post he made on his Instagram was so weird. I died on the cross yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw this. It was... I don't even know what he was like. Is he okay? I love Bucky, but what the hell is that? Look, I think Golden's going to ascend over the course of the year. Olave's a really safe floor, right? He's getting so many targets. I think this is about as even as it can get. If Bucky was healthy today, I would probably prefer to keep Bucky. But this is about as even as it gets. Judkins is getting so much volume. He's in a bad offense. Bucky's in a good offense. Yes, Sean Tucker scored twice on Sunday. It was so cool as a Bucky Irving owner to finally see the Bucs utilize their running backs on the goal line. That was so awesome to see, right? Right, guys? Rachaad White only averaged, 2.9 yards per carry, but he got the 2 opportunities on the goal line. Yeah, so cool. Maybe you could do that with Bucky when he's back, right? So look, I think there's enough value here with Judkins and Olave. If you need help at your flex and Olave is going to improve your flex, then I don't mind it. It's a pretty fair deal overall. I appreciate y'all for being here with us. Isaac Wooten, it's a start sit. Now, I have my weekly rankings, guys. I just haven't been able to upload them to the Flock site yet. That will be my goal today. By the end of my time today, they should be up there. So I apologize if they're not up there yet, but just wanted to let you guys know why. Just things have been chaotic, have been crazy here. But again, appreciate you guys. Isaac is starting Daniels Genty at RB2. It's between Kyren, Warren, and Judkins. Kyron's one of my favorite plays this week against the Ravens. Obviously didn't work out for Woody last week, but all the signs were there. The team scored 40 points. I don't see how the Rams don't demolish them, and Kyron's obviously that dude. In your flex spot, you've got Worthy, McMillan. McMillan should have his best game ever against the Cowboys, but I don't think you can sit Judkins. He goes up against the Steelers. Steelers defense is improving, but I just don't see how you sit Quinshon Judkins with the volume that he's currently receiving. Okay, CTE All-Star is here, and it looks like he is sending away Wilson and Shakir for Burrow, Warren, and Turpin. I guess I'm confused what the value in this, like, what exactly are you, I don't understand what you're getting here. It's a redraft league, not Dynasty. I mean, if it's Dynasty, then maybe, even if it's Dynasty, it's a one quarterback league still. I guess I don't really understand the benefit for your team to make this trade. I mean, are you, I guess maybe you're excited about Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow, you should not rely on Joe Burrow coming back this year. Maybe he does. That would be a nice surprise, but I don't understand this trade. Yeah, Garrett Wilson's by far the most valuable piece in this. Jaylen Warren is definitely valuable, but the way I view this is Joe Burrow's a nothing burger. Turpin's a nothing burger. So you're basically getting Jaylen Warren for Garrett Wilson and Shakir, and I just don't see any value in that. Like, I'm struggling to understand where the value is coming from for you. Maybe you get Ken Walker and Jaylen Warren. Maybe that makes more sense. Is there a receiver that makes sense, like Zay Flowers and Jaylen Warren? These are the type of trades that maybe make sense, but I don't understand why you would do this. So hard pass for me. Okay. Butta says, wanted wide receiver depth. Did I get enough value? Love you. That's very kind. Love you too. Okay. You want a wide receiver depth. Well, you are the rare minority there when you say that, because most people need running back help. You sent away Kamara and Judy for Smith and Pearsall. At this point, Judy is, I'm not going to say useless, but in smaller leagues, I would consider dropping him. Difficult to know if there's any value whatsoever. Devonta Smith and Ricky Pearsall for Alvin Kamara and Jerry Judy. I mean, it's a fine trade. I don't think you got poor value or anything. Right now, your starting lineup is Dak, Bijan. I don't know. Who are you going to start at running back this week, dude? Woody is on bye. I have no idea who you're going to start at running back too. What's funny about this trade is now you need help at running back. I don't know, man. I mean, okay, so let's assume if Bucky somehow comes back this week, then maybe you have that. So Dak, Bijan, Bucky. Oh, you're the team below. Right. That makes sense. So you haven't made this trade then? Is that what you're saying? You haven't made the trade yet? So if you made this trade, you would get Baker. Always important, guys. Like, the way this was phrased was that you made it. Okay, you said it's processing. Right. I can see your wide receiver room clearly needs help. So you're going to have Baker, JT Brees, Puka, Smith or Pearsall, Warren, and then you can flex Smith or Pearsall and Jaylen Warren. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that's a logical option there. I'm fine with that. Darren Waller's on your waiver wire. Interesting. Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair trade. It's just much harder to acquire a running back. So if I sell a running back, I want it to really be worth it. I'm not saying that it wasn't for you. Megatron 30 is sending away Swift and Sutton for Brees and Henderson. I view Brees and Sutton quite similarly. Swift and Henderson. I prefer Henderson slightly because of what I believe he will do rest of season. But right now, yeah, I'm fine to take the Brees Hall side if you need help at running back. Where is your team? Yeah, I'm fine with this. I like that side. I hate to lose Sutton, but Breece and Sutton are pretty on par, and then I like the upside of Henderson over Swift long term. Obviously, we can't really guarantee what's going to happen there in Chicago long term. Kyle Monangai has to be stashed, gang. We'll talk about him in this week's video, but you got to have Kyle Monangai stashed. Just crucial. If they're going to make any changes, then they would make them soon. All right. Let's go to Nardon. We will do these team reviews today. I'll get to them. Nardon 33 has Patrick Mahomes, Devon Achane, Javonte Williams, Devontae Adams at receiver. I feel like you got to just start Smith and Olave there. And then at flex, you have Genty. Yeah, I think that's probably your best lineup. Look, Jacoby Myers technically has a better matchup than these receivers, but ultimately it's difficult to trust that passing attack right now. So that's where I would lean. Nate Fournier, what's up, Nate? He is starting Drake May, Jonathan Taylor at running back 2. All right. So this is the point of the week where we say, look, we say this every single week, and yet when things don't go the way we all anticipate them, there are always comments later on. Look, okay, guys, the way fantasy football works is it's unpredictable, okay? And this is why I don't even really like the term expert, right? Like a fantasy football expert. It's silly because the nature of the game is randomness, right? So let me just make a clear statement before I answer any more questions. Each and every week we have data, we have analytics, we have numbers, we have matchups, weather, all these things that go into our weekly rankings, right? Workloads, utilization rates, right? And we take that information, which is typically quite sticky, and we make predictions on what will happen. Now, those are predictions, right? Breaking news. I'm sorry if this is some of you guys are like, wow, really, Zach? You don't know the future? Yeah, I actually am not. I don't have a crystal ball, right? Now, I'm setting all of this up quickly because obviously what happened last week with Woody Marks, plenty of people were very upset with me. I felt like it was the right process. It didn't work out. I'm saying all that because Jacory Croskey-Merritt is going to be very high in my rankings this week. Now, I do believe the process is right. I believe it makes all the sense in the world to be aggressively high on JCM this week, right? JCM, for the first time this entire year, starts for the Commanders last week. Finally, he's the starter. Career highs and touches and snap percentages. He's getting goal line opportunities and nobody else is taking them away from him, right? So all of the signs are there just from a usage, from a breakout perspective. And then you go and look at the matchup this week versus Chicago. I mean, all signs are pointing to another great day for Bill Croskey-Merritt. Chicago, if you look at schedule adjusted fantasy points allowed, let's have a look. They are currently the 5th best matchup for your running back, giving up over 27 points per game to the position. So again, there is every reason to believe that JCM is going to have a great day. That's why I'm choosing JCM here in your lineup. And that's why throughout this week, I will be aggressive with JCM. No, that doesn't mean I can predict the future. That doesn't mean I can guarantee you JCM is going to go off, okay? It means there's every indication that he has a great chance to. And that's what we're playing with. A game of chance in fantasy football, okay? All right. At wide receiver, it's probably going to be T. Higgins. And then at the flex spot, man, this is tough. This is really between Jameson and Henderson for me. Jameson Oddly enough, I feel like they need to be in a more competitive game for him to really be interesting. I do like that this week they're going up against the Chiefs, and I feel like the Chiefs are going to game plan around Amon-Ra St. Brown. But at the same time, Henderson, without Gibson, is just naturally going to have a larger role. He plays the Saints. I think Henderson is a safer play. I think Jameson's the boom bust there. There's plenty of bust with Jameson, by the way. And we have to recognize that. It's been purely bust so far. Really. So proceed with caution. All right. All right, so let's go to Dang Shoot here, who is sending away a first and JCM for Sutton and Johnston in a Dynasty League. Yeah, interesting question. Non-Dynasty people, probably this would be a surprise to them, but people who have been playing Dynasty for a while, it won't be a surprise to them. I find it difficult to be too aggressive on Sutton in Dynasty football, right? We're talking about a 29-year-old player, will be 30, obviously. And even if he performs well in Dynasty football, people look at that 30-year-old price tag and they want no part of it, right? Whether that's right or wrong, that's what the market does. The market does that. And you're lying to yourself if you don't think it does. So Sutton, if you look at all the pieces in this trade, is the name whose value in Dynasty is going to drastically fall, right? So I'm not really that excited about the idea of like going out and trading for him right now, you know, sending a first and a young player like JCM. So I'm probably going to pass on this trade. I'd rather have the first. I'd rather have JCM. I'd love to hear from the chat if you guys think I'm crazy, but that's probably where I would stand right now, is leaning towards keeping that first and JCM at this point. What's up, LOL, in the chat? They are sending away Chase for London and Warren. It's a 6-team league. My goodness. 6-team league. All right, so you're sending away Chase for London and Warren. Right. Oh, dude, JCM's on your waiver wire. Look, I mean, dude, you got Tucker Kraft on the waiver wire, bro. No, you don't do this trade. Well, I probably prefer a London over Chase rest of season, but it's close. Look, I'm not opposed to this. I just think it's kind of silly to like trade for a tight end when Tucker Kraft is on the waiver wire. Is there a different format? If you know you could pick up Tucker Kraft, could you counter this trade and like remove Warren from the equation and make some sort of upgrade on your roster? Like, for example, you get Nico Collins and you send back like a Chris Godwin or something. Like, is something like that possible? Then if you know you can just go pick up Tucker Kraft, you might as well do that. But I'm going to have to refresh here. But look, I don't think it's a crazy trade. Honestly, from a value perspective, I prefer London right now, rest of season, but it's pretty close. Obviously, we need to see what Joe Flacco is going to look like behind that offensive line. LOL, I just answered your question, my friend. You can go back and listen about 60 seconds. Just go back into the stream. We talked about a couple counters that you could potentially make, but yeah, appreciate you, man. Thanks for asking the question. All right, Sam, what's up, Sam? By the way, if you guys aren't aware, we do have a giveaway today. All you have to do to enter is type week 6 into the chat, no spaces, and then like the stream. That's as simple as it gets. Okay, so like the stream, type week 6, and every time we reach 75 likes, we'll give away some vouchers on the Flock site for y'all. Appreciate you guys big time. All right, Sam, and if you want to get a guaranteed reply to your question, you can check out the link in the pinned comment. Anytime you submit a question with Fantasyland on the Flock site, I got you, and you'll get a time code to exactly when your question's answered. Okay, Sam says, I have a young team this year, 0-5 in Dynasty League. Other owner is the #1 team so far. So you would send away Montgomery for Luther Burden. I like this. If you're a rebuilder, if you're 0-5, I think this is probably a smart move, but I wonder if you could potentially net more. You have such a good wide receiver core already. I wonder if there's something that you could add on to this with Burden's slow start. Most people in Dynasty are going to be patient with Burden, but I'm just wondering, like, hey, can he throw you like Woody Marks in this? And, you know, I'm wondering if you can throw him something back, like a Darnell Mooney or something. That's even more intriguing to me because you give him 2 veterans, you get 2 young guys who roles should grow. I like that. What's up, Kleinot? Currently 5-0 in their Dynasty League, and they would send away Henry for Travion Henderson. Look, this is a no-brainer in a Dynasty League. I know it's not been good for Henderson, but history tells us the vast majority of the time, again, there we go with that, you know, let's be honest about fantasy football, guys. There's randomness to it, right? But the vast majority of times, these guys who are picked in the second round end up being fantasy superstars. Hasn't happened for Henderson yet, but we can't assume that it won't happen after just 5 weeks of football. And by far, I prefer Henderson over Derrick Henry in Dynasty football. By far, right? So I'll take Henderson there. And it looks like you don't even need him with your running back room that you have. Your running back room is already pretty goated. Gregonometry would be sending away Hubbard, Pickens for Pacheco and Collins. Hubbard and Pickens for Pacheco and Collins. Interesting. Look, like Pacheco, this is what's weird about Pacheco in yesterday's game. He actually looked pretty decent. Pacheco actually looked decent for the first time in a while. The issue is he just gets no work on the goal line whatsoever. You know what I mean? So that makes it really difficult for me to get excited about him. I saw a tweet today and talked about like goal line opportunities for the Chiefs, and essentially there's like 0 opportunities for Pacheco on the goal line. All of them are going to Kareem Hunt this year. And to be fair, Kareem Hunt is very good in that role. The short yardage role when you need like 1 or 2 yards. It's weird. It used to be so, you know, dynamic in the open field and so fun to watch. And now it's like he's just got this big body that he can just get you a couple yards. So I'm not that excited about Pacheco still. Obviously, I love getting Nico Collins, though. Man, I still think George Pickens is going to be great when CeeDee's back. I don't know, man. Is there a different name other than Pacheco here? Like, if you did this trade, you'd have Etienne and Montgomery. I don't like that, dude. I'm not a fan of that wide receiver or that running back room. Shoot, I mean, can we get Bucky in this deal? Can we remove Pacheco? This is a tough one. I don't think there's really a good trade out there for you two to meet in the middle. Yeah, I don't think there's a trade for you guys, honestly. I just don't want to invest in Pacheco still. I still think Brashard Smith's role is going to grow over the course of the year. And I think Pickens is going to be great even when we inevitably see you know, CeeDee Lamb back. Okay, what's up, Mick? Mick would send away Rachaad White and Tetaroa McMillan for Alvin Kamara and Brian Thomas. Okay, Rachaad White is a temporary play. Alvin Kamara could be traded, but I still don't like. Last week, 5 of Kendre's carries came when they were trying to ice the game out. So I wouldn't be too worried about that just yet. But obviously, Kendre looks great. He is rushing really well. We really liked Kendre coming out of TCU. Finally, he's healthy. He has a team that believes in him. So Kendre is going to play a role. But Rachaad White is not going to be a weekly starter when Bucky's back. So I think this is a good time to sell Rachaad White. And obviously still believe in Brian Thomas. It's just not really been there. Got the end zone target last night, but it wasn't really catchable. I'm fine to take the Kamara side of that. Okay, Manster says, I'm back 4-1 now. I think I got to jump on this. So you would send away Allen and Franklin for Dak, JCM, and Keenan. Interesting. Allen. Okay, so you would lose Josh Allen. You would get Dak Prescott. At running back, you'd have Gibbs, Taylor, JCM. That's pretty crazy. At wide receiver, obviously you add Keenan Allen, who's a very reliable name. Yeah, I mean, it's tough losing Josh Allen, but I would struggle to not make this deal, man. I think I'm fine to take the JCM and Keenan side of this. Now, you have to aware, Manster. You have to be aware, right, that obviously we cannot predict if JCM's role is going to continue, but all signs suggest it should, right? All signs suggest that the takeover is here. What's up, Jolly Green? All right. People are saying we reached our like goal. Is that right? Did we reach the like goal, guys? Okay, we did reach our like goal. Okay. So all you guys got to do to enter, and there are currently 56 entries. I'll give you guys one last shot here to enter this giveaway. All you got to do to enter is type week 6 into the chat, all one word, and like the stream. Okay. Once you have done that, then you will be entered. This is your last chance to enter. I'll answer a couple more questions, and then we'll jump into that giveaway. What's up, Jolly Green? He has Hurts, Kyron Gibbs, AJ Adunze, Tyler Warren. In the flex spot is what he needs help with. The Vikings are on bye, right? Pretty sure the Vikings are on bye. I need to remind myself. Isn't it Vikings? It's Vikings Texans, right? Those are the guys that are unavailable. So let's assume that he's not available for you. Yes. Okay. You're really kind of digging deep here. I think Wandale, it didn't look great last week, but Wandale had 7 targets. So this week he is facing the Eagles. I think they'll be down in that game. He'll probably get plenty of PPR floor. And then your other option without Mason is probably Keon, Troy, or Mason Taylor. And you're really playing Russian roulette there. Now, Keon faces Atlanta. It's not a good matchup. Troy faces the Jets. Troy probably has more upside. And then at tight end, Mason Taylor's starting to really make a name for himself. Shout out to our boy. Now, Denver against tight ends are a tougher matchup. They're a bottom third matchup for tight ends. I kind of feel like Mason Taylor is the safest play. His target share has gone from 1, 2, 6, 7, 12. I feel like Mason's the safer play, but Franklin's the upside. So I'll go safe, and then you can make the decision based off of that. But not great to have to start some of those names. Not great. All right, Jalen Goat, what's up, man? He says, strongest team, do I sit and wait or go for Lamb? So you would trade away Cook, Golden, Kelsey for Walker, CeeDee, Kittle. I can't think of a reason not to make this trade, especially with Kittle coming back soon. I don't have a timeline on that for you, obviously. You already have Jake Ferguson, though. If you make this trade, then you no longer have James Cook, and that's Ken Walker. You get the upgrade at tight end, but you don't need a tight end. See, that's... But you do get CeeDee Lamb. Such an interesting trade question. Your running back room is clearly the best in the league right now. If you make this move, it will no longer be the best in the league. You don't... Oh my gosh, JCM's on the waiver wire, dude? Oh my goodness. All right, look, if you can guarantee you pick up JCM, I don't care who you have to drop to do it. Drop Harold Fannin, for God's sake. You know, if you have to drop Golden, drop someone. If you can guarantee that you're going to get JCM, then this is a no-brainer. I still think there's probably more overall value on your side. What you would probably want to do after this is then flip Kittle or Jake Ferguson. Maybe you wait until Kittle's back to flip him. But then eventually when Kittle is back, you use either Jake Ferguson or Kittle to probably package with Walker to upgrade at running back. But I think, you know, if you have the strongest team, if you're like 4-1 or 5-0, I think you're fine to do this. But if you need wins right now, you have to rethink that. All right, guys, we talked about this yesterday. And I stated my opinion. Who do you want rest of season? Bill Kroskey or Travion Henderson? Let's put a poll in the chat again. Let's see if your guys' opinion has changed at all from one day to the next. I have been pretty aggressive on Jacory rest of season. I know I might have my blinders on because I'm a big Jacory guy. Traded for him in the Flock League. Who do you guys want rest of the year? I want to hear from the chat here. Right? Go ahead and vote in the chat. And while they're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and let's do this giveaway here. Awesome. So, there are currently 75 entries. All you had to do to enter was like the stream and type week 6 into the chat. No word, no spaces. Let's give away a start sit voucher first. And that start sit voucher is going to go to Physicality, which he's been a big supporter of us this year. So shout out to Physicality. Physicality, all you have to do, my friend, to get your free voucher is DM me on Discord. There's my name. Send me a screenshot of a YouTube account and tell me your Flock Fantasy username. Okay. I'm just going to write that down. So you got the start sit. Let's go to the trade question voucher. The trade question voucher goes to Akshay. What's up, Akshay? Awesome. So we've got Akshay Shah who wins the trade question voucher. So my friend, go ahead and DM me on Discord again with your Flock Fantasy username, a screenshot of your YouTube account, and just DM me whenever. I can't reply on the stream, but I'll reply afterwards. And again, if anybody out there doesn't have a Flock Fantasy account yet, you can create one for free. Just use the code LAND at sign up so you see the My Teams feature and expert consensus opinion on your team. Which right now I'm at 2-3, but expert consensus says I have the second best team in the league. Damn shame. Okay. So the chat, 81% of people want Bill Kroskey-Merritt here. That's where I lean to. So I'll take JCM. All right, ramengod.sr says I need help so bad, please. Any advice or targets? So you would send away Bucky, Pearsall, McBride for Judkins, Sutton, and Warren. I don't see any downside to this move, honestly. As much as I love Bucky, Judkins is getting so much volume. He's a great play each and every week. As much as I love Pearsall, Sutton's the alpha on his team. And as much as I love McBride, I have no idea who scores more points the rest of the year between him and Tyler Warren. So, yeah, dude, I have no problem with this trade, genuinely. I think this trade is fine. Go ahead and take Judkins and Sutton and Warren side of this if you want. Again, we will do another giveaway if we reach another 75 likes, so that would be 150. So again, if you guys want to enter, just like the stream, type week 6 into the chat. That's as simple as it gets, just like Anthony's done here. All right, Pikachu, would you send away Woody Marks for Chase Brown rest of the year? I think after the Joe Flacco move, I probably would. Now, we've had many conversations about Woody Marks this year. The Joe Mixon report was hilarious. You can tell the people who didn't end up getting Woody Marks off the waiver wire. It's hilarious because if you look at that interview, people are like, wow, see, Joe Mixon's coming back. It's funny because if you actually listen to the words, Nick Casario, the GM, he says, probably over the next few weeks we'll have a better idea. He's making progress. He said what he actually said is in 3 to 4 weeks, we will reevaluate. It's like, wait, sorry. It's after week 5 and you need to wait 3 to 4 weeks to reevaluate again? It's like far out. Is this guy going to play this year? That was my take on it. But the people who don't own Woody Marks, it's very easy to dunk on the Woody Marks owners right now. But yeah, I didn't read that as like, wow, Joe Mixon's definitely coming back soon. I was like, damn, you got to wait 3 to 4 weeks to reassess again? Sheesh. But yeah, I'll take Chase Brown here. What's up, Simon? He says, I'm 4-1. Running backs are Tootin, Dowdle, Harvey, Mason, Puka, Jason. Trade Jason for Judkins and one of London or Rice. Would I trade Jason for Judkins and London or Rice? Yeah, absolutely. Right now, your running back room is rough. You've got Tootin, Dowdle, who's only playable without Hubbard. Hampton's on the IR. Harvey hasn't taken over the role. Mason is fine, but Aaron Jones will be back. So you're able to get Judkins and London or Rice? That's a no-brainer. You take Judkins. I probably prefer London slightly. Let me look at my rest of season rankings real fast. Yeah. I have them in the same tier, but I slightly prefer London, so absolutely, man. Come on. And the great part about that is London's already had his bye week. Yeah. I'm totally fine with Judkins and London. That's a no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer. Okay, Joker is sending away Lad McConkey and Trey McBride. He's getting back Zay Flowers and Jake Ferguson. Look, between Lad and Zay, I prefer Zay, but I could see a scenario where Lad recovers his value and they're kind of a similar asset. So I probably still prefer Trey McBride and Lad McConkey here. As a Jake Ferguson owner in the Flock League, like I own Jake Ferguson in the Flock League, I'm still not convinced that rest of the year he's going to be the tight end one. It's been awesome to see. But I more lean towards like he'll be a top 5 tight end rather than like tight end 1 or 2. Overall, I think I'm completely indifferent on this trade. It really comes down to who's your guys here, right? You could totally see a range of outcome where either side of this trade ends up winning or ends up scoring more points. So that makes it a pretty even deal. I don't have a strong opinion, but from a value perspective, it's fair. What's up, LOL? You would send away Gibbs for Bucky and CD. It's a 6. This is that 6-team league, is it? So you would send away Gibbs for Bucky and CD. Again, it's so crazy to see like JCM on the waiver wire, Tucker Kraft on the waiver wire. Gotta pick those guys up, man. But in a 6-team league, would I send away Gibbs for Bucky and CD? If you've got a positive record, if you're, what do you got? What does the chat think? You want the Gibbs or the Bucky package? Just type Gibbs or Bucky in the chat. I mean, look. When CD's back, I'll probably have him and Gibbs very similar in rest of season rankings. So in a way, you could kind of view this as a free Bucky Irving. Hard to lose Gibbs, but this is close. Again, if you're 4-1, 5-0, I think you can make this deal. If you're 2-3, 1-4, then you probably have to keep Gibbs. But when CeeDee Lamb is back and healthy, I mean, look at how great that offense is in Dallas. Yeah, we want to be a part of that. Obviously, we know how good Gibbs is, but yeah. Anthony says Hampton's out, but is this good for long term? But this is good long term, yes. Okay, so you would lose Taylor for Puka. What's your running back room going to look like then? So if you do this trade, you've got Achane, Kamara, Woody, Hampton when Hampton's back. Does this improve your starting lineup? Your starting lineup goes Mahomes, Achane, Kamara, Puka, JSN, Ferguson. Then CD is your flex. That's kind of insane. I'm not going to lie to you. And JCM's on your waivers. Kyron Williams is on your waiver wire. What? Some of these teams today. What is going on? Well, yeah, bro. If Kyron Williams and JCN and Travion Henderson are all on your waiver wire, go get Puka Nacua. Absolutely. You probably won't get him. Look, I think it's fair enough value even if you can't get those names. But, my brother, if you can, I mean, please. If you don't get Kyron or JCM, get Henderson, get Charbonnet. There's plenty of value there on the waiver wire. Dr. J would be sending away A.J. Brown and Metcalf for Smith and Odunze. Yeah, it's a no-brainer to me. I would view Metcalf and Smith similarly rest of the year. It's funny that you're getting out of the Eagles offense to get right back in the Eagles offense. But at least because this offense is so random in its nature with its, passing attack, at least you're getting out of the premium quote-unquote name to actually get a top 10 wide receiver in Rome Odunze. There's just no reason not to make that trade. What's up, Daniel? He says, do I bench Chase Brown, start Ladd for the flex? Between Chase Brown and Ladd, it's very close this week. With the addition of Joe Flacco, I'm probably leaning Chase Brown, honestly. Like, I'm now starting to ask the question, like, would I rather start Chase Brown or Pollard or Henry? I think I lean Chase Brown over even Derrick Henry this week. Is that crazy to say? Unless Lamar's playing. Man, if Joe Flacco's playing, I don't see how Chase Brown doesn't get 5 targets. You'd probably expect Ladd to get, 5 to 7 targets anyway. I'm fine to play Ladd this week. He's my wide receiver 24. It's a good matchup against the Miami Dolphins. But, damn, that's close, man. That's a close one. I'm going to need to phone a friend on this. Let's start a poll. Who are you guys starting this week? Ladd McConkey or Chase Brown? Ladd McConkey or Chase Brown? The poll's in the chat. I want to hear from you. I think it's a very good question. It's a valid question. It's a difficult question. So always good to pull resources together. The majority typically is correct. Doesn't mean always, but typically correct. Right now we have 27 votes. Let's get some more votes in there. Again, I appreciate y'all for being here with us. If you haven't followed your boy over on X yet, I mean, I talk about fantasy. I talk about the Flock League. I talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder. So you want to come follow me. There will be a lot of Bill propaganda, so I apologize in advance. All right, so what does the chat say? The chat is not helpful at all because it is a 50-50 split. Well, this was a useless exercise. All right. The chat is basically split down the middle. They didn't help me make a decision at all whatsoever. 53% of the chat says Ladd. All right, so most of the people are going Ladd McConkey. I think it's about as even as it gets. I'll go Ladd with the chat then. D Rock is sending away Mayfield, Swift, and McBride for Knicks, Marks, Sutton, Henry, Kittle. Okay. So, I guess the reason you're doing this is Cortland Sutton. You are downgrading at quarterback from Baker to Bo, but I still like Bo rest of the year. At tight end, I think this is a neutral move to get Kittle when Kittle's back. Let's look at your team. Do you need help at receiver? You have Nico, Chase. You'd be adding Sutton here. Your running back room is currently Judkins, Henderson, and Swift. I mean, your running back room, I still believe in Woody Marks the rest of the year. I still think he'll be a startable name plenty of weeks. But you're kind of playing with fire here a little bit. Mason's in the chat. He says, emergency. Etienne and Higgins or Kamara and Tet. I'm not giving up Tet for Higgins. So, what, is Mason streaming right now? Mason must not be streaming yet. He's saying emergency. Well, yeah, no, I'd probably pass. Can't give up Tet for Higgins. I understand why you'd want to get out of Higgins though. Not streaming, just trying to counter your offer. Yeah, look, I'm interested in a deal, but I'm not going to give up Tet before he plays the Cowboys. I don't know where you stand, Mason. Obviously, this is great for you getting Joe Flacco, but I was talking to our community. I am still concerned because of the offensive line. I'm not sure the offensive line is... he was a complete statue in Cleveland, but... yeah. I mean, if you have more offers here, I'm on stream. You can send them out. I'm here to... but no, I'm not going to move Tet for Higgins. Okay, so we send away Mayfield, Swift, and McBride. As far as tight ends, I think this is a neutral move going Kittle, Henry. You're obviously downgrading at quarterback from Baker to Bo, but I still like Bo. Then the issue is really Sutton and Marks or Swift. Sutton is inherently more valuable than Swift. I think there's enough value here, but I think your running back room looks really bad after you make this move. That's my honest answer. Probably worth stashing Joe Mixon. Now, I mean, can you make this move and then send away a Jacoby Myers for a running back? Etienne and Goddard for Kamara and Ferguson. What do you think, chat? Why don't I ask my community? This is funny. The tight end that Mason dropped off the waiver wire and nobody picked him up. And then Mason added him again. Or the tight end one in fantasy football. What do you guys think? I think Mason knows the answer to that. Okay. Look, I think you can take this deal. Ideally, what I'd like to do next is then package Jacoby Myers to get a running back. And I would just kind of feel that out before you make this trade. Like, can you package Jacoby Myers, you know, and something else on your team to get a DeAndre Swift level back? Like Cam Scadaboo with Tyrone Tracy coming back, a Travion Henderson, a Charbonnet, a Stevenson. Can you get something like that? And Aaron Jones. So yeah. Wow, I'm shocked that 33% of you guys are even considering the Etienne Goddard side. Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, I'm not taking that trade. Daniel, what's up? Welcome back, brother. He says, need the best flex option. Baker. Okay, so you've got Baker, Brees, Judkins at wide receiver. This is where we are, Mason. This is where you and I are. All right. I know Joe Flacco is there, but let's not pretend like either of us want Higgins or Jameson on our team. This guy doesn't even know who to start. He doesn't know. And I have no idea. I have no idea who to tell you to start between Higgins and Jameson. I don't know. I'd probably lean... Yeah, look. I have them back-to-back in my rankings right now. And there's a 90% chance that these guys disappoint you. But we'll go with Higgins because there's change with Joe Flacco, right? And then in your flex spot, Jameson or Henderson, I'm probably just going to put Henderson right now without Gibson being there. Daniel's back. He says, I am tired of Seattle's backfield. Sharp's getting the touchdown. You know, it's funny because, look, this is going to sound really messed up, but I kind of love seeing the Ken Walker meltdowns on Twitter weekly. Like, I kind of find it funny. Maybe that makes me a bad person. I don't know. I find it hilarious because I don't have Ken Walker in any of my fantasy leagues, right? I have a lot of Charbonnet. So I kind of just sit back as a Charbonnet owner and I just find it funny. That might be rude, but I kind of find it funny. Obviously, like, what Ken Walker does on a per touch basis is really fun to see. But I think if we're all being, like, really honest, it makes sense what the Seahawks are doing to rotate these guys in and out. I think it makes a ton of sense. So they're keeping each other, you know, healthy. They're keeping each other fresh, ready to go. Charbonnet plays an important role. He's great in pass protection. But I understand the frustration. If I had Ken Walker, I'd be frustrated too, right? I guess maybe that's the best way to say it. Yeah. Awesome. Appreciate you, Daniel. Thanks for the support. Okay, 66% of you guys are sane. That's what I've learned from this poll in the chat. 34% of you guys need to get your head checked. All right? I don't care when CD Lamb comes back. You guys think I'm banking on a 20-point game from Jake Ferguson every week? I mean, come on. 36% of y'all need to get your heads checked. Okay. Death Hammer at quarterback. We're going to start Baker Mayfield. At running back, between Chase Brown and JCM, I'm going to be aggressive on JCM this week. All signs point towards a great game. Of course, we can't guarantee that. Between Johnson and McMillan, that's actually quite close, honestly. Johnston's my wide receiver 12. McMillan's my wide receiver 13. Yeah, I think Johnson has more inbuilt boom games, so hard to sit him. At your tight end spot, you're going to play Trey McBride. And then at your flex, maybe this is where we go McMillan. Yeah. That's probably where we go McMillan. Mason, I know Mason likes Keon Coleman. If Mason's still in the chat, what about a Keon Coleman part of this deal? Let me see if I can whip up a counter for us. Okay, hold on. It's not letting me send this counter through. Give me 1 second, guys. Just Flock League things. Okay. That counter is in your inbox. All right. Physicality says, I just made this trade. I got Hendy. Was this smart? So you sent away Shakir and Addison for Henderson. Look, in a 10-team league, Shakir's a very low floor play every week. I mean, can you pick up DJ Moore? What is your wide receiver room, brother? Oh, dude. Who are you going to start at wide receiver? My boy. That's not you. Okay, it must have a weird glitch on the back end. Who are you starting at receiver if you do this trade? Is this your trade physicality? Is this you asking the trade? Are you saying it's not your team? Wait, so you did the opposite side. You got Addison and Shakir. The way you submitted this question is that you sent, as in they receive, you sent Shakir and Addison. Okay, the trade hasn't processed then. Is that what you're saying? Just make sure, guys, when you send through these trade questions, make sure you clarify if the trade is processed or not, because it's going to be hard for us to look at your teams. Okay, I mean, look, You have the depth to do this. Addison and Shakir, your wide receiver, what, 5 and 6? I don't mind banking on the upside. I don't really think you needed help at running back at all. It's kind of a neutral trade, honestly. But if you then ask, well, I can get DJ Moore for free off the waiver wire, then it's a huge smash, right? Yeah. That's okay. Physicality, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for the question. All right. Physicality is at quarterback between Caleb and Drake May. I'm going to go Drake May. He's just been... I know last week wasn't awesome, but he's just been so good for fantasy, and now he plays the Saints. At flex, wow, so many great options, man. You are blessed. I wish I was in this situation in the Flock League. My dumbass is trying to figure out if I should start Jameson Williams and Keon or Charbonnet. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, look, if right now I have Dowdle and Brees back to back. I think I do slightly prefer Dowdle if there's no Chuba Hubbard. But what's funny is if you look at my rankings right now this week, I have these 3 running backs all ranked back to back to back. It's in order: Dowdle at 14, Brees at 15, and Rashad at 16. So it's crazy that you have to sit some of these names. I slightly prefer Dowdle, but man, it's close. I could see Rashad or Brees being the better play. That's a tough one. Really tough one. Okay, appreciate y'all for being here with us. Just a heads up. Every time we reach 75 likes, we are going to do a giveaway. We've already done one today. So that means if we reach 150, we'll do another one. All you have to do to enter is like the stream and type week 6 into the chat. Now, I am answering as many fantasy questions as I can with the time that we have. If you want a guaranteed reply, you can check out the link in the pinned comment where you can submit a question to us on the Flock site. And obviously, you'll get a guaranteed reply there. You'll get a time code to exactly when I answered your question. And just quickly, we won't spend too much time on this, but if you want some free vouchers, you can get the season pass with the promo code LAND. It's a $34 one-time purchase. You get some vouchers on the site. You get rankings, rest of season, all the premium tools on the Flock site, etc. Right? So all that is available to you if you become a season pass member. I'm just seeing if I can actually get my questions back up. All right. That is not functioning for some reason. So give me 1 second here. I want to see if our site is okay. Yeah, exactly. I'm assuming Hubbard's out. If Hubbard is playing, then Breece Hall definitely is the name there. All right. Well, our devs are going to get stream mode back up here on the Flock site. Give me a, you know what we'll do is I'm going to answer some questions at random here on the YouTube chat, guys. We're going to get stream mode back up in a second. Our devs are aware there's an issue, and they are working on it. Okay. All right, let's answer some questions at random here in the chat. Shamrock, that's very kind. Thank you. Harris says, should I trade Javonte Williams for Jamar Chase? Man, that's a close trade. I think most people need running backs than wide receivers. I probably lean Javonte there still. I'd probably lean Javonte still. It's so hard to find usable running backs right now. All right, let's see. Zachary says Jefferson for Judkins and Sutton. Yeah, I'll take Judkins and Sutton there. Physicality says, would you rather have Diggs or DJ off the waivers? Probably Diggs at this point. All right, Steve says trade help. Bucky for Mike Evans and Kenneth Walker. Depends on the size of your league. Depends on how big your lineup is, how big your rosters are. There's a lot of context that's needed there, Steve. If it's a smaller league, I prefer Bucky. What's up, Jackson? Where do you find injury updates? I've got, I mean, just with the nature of what I do with Fantasyland, I have over the years built up a notification system from a bunch of different beat reporters and different people in the space. What I would say is probably one of the best people that you can follow is 32 Beat Writers. They're really great. Okay. So 32 Beat Writers is a really good account. They often retweet things from beat writers. Coach Speak Index is a decent one, but they don't really cover like injury stuff. You can cover, we have a great relationship with Jeff Mueller. He's not technically associated with Fantasyland, but I always use his information, his thoughts. He's been quite reliable, and anytime I DM him about a player, he's always responsive and gives great thoughts. So I think Jeff Mueller is the best in the space personally. A lot of these injury guys do it for clicks, and I think they kind of take advantage of the moment. I'm not going to say everybody does, but most of them, in my opinion, do. And I've never seen Jeff do that. All right. Ben says Kenneth Walker and Fannin for Alvin Kamara. Don't have a strong opinion on that between Kamara and look, take Fannin out of it entirely. Fannin doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, Fannin is not going to make a big difference. But between Walker and Kamara, I'm kind of indifferent on that one. Chase Brown for Judkins. I want Judkins easily. JCM or Judkins? Well, you're going to start Judkins this week for sure. How much fab on Haskins? I talked about that in my waiver video, so I would still have the same opinion. I believe we said, what did we say, like, I think like 5 to 10, something like that we said. Look, the hard part about the Chargers backfield is their offensive line is just destroyed, guys. Their offensive line is gone, completely gone. And depending on game flow, that will determine which running back gets more looks. Yeah. I guess if you need a starter this week and you want to just rock with Haskins, you probably would spend 15% of your fab, something like that. But, yeah. Mike, sorry guys, so many questions. Just going to have to ask them at random. Mike says, second flex, Carter, Charbonnet, Dobbs, or Golden? Probably Carter there. Probably Carter. Yes, Flock site, you can still send in questions, but right now it's just down. Like I can't access them right now. Our devs are aware of it. And they're going to get it back up. So we're just answering some questions in the chat until that's back available to us. All right. Again, answering these questions at random in the chat. Stafford or Murray this week? I'm going Stafford. He's a great play. How do I feel about holding CMC? How do I feel about having, the second best player in fantasy football? Great. Absolutely great. Obviously, if he gets injured, you'll be upset, but that's any player. Let's see. Alessandro says, should I trade Hawkinson and Walker for Laporta and Pollard? I'd rather have Hawkinson and Walker there. It's close, though. Elite Team says it's full PPR. Pick 2 wide receivers, a flex, and a running back. Waddle, Johnson, Igbuka, Tet, Marvin, Judkins, Walker. My gosh. Only 2 wide receivers, flex, and 1 running back. Well, you're not going to sit Judkins. At wide receiver, you're not going to sit Igbuka. And then I'm probably going to go Johnston. And then at your flex spot, it would probably be McMillan, but it's very close between those other names. What's up, Styles? Welcome in. We're just answering some of the YouTube questions because the Flock site's down at the moment, but our devs are on it. Okay, Jammy says, just got an offer of McBride and Jameson for Tetaroa McMillan. Wide receivers are Chase, Ricky Diggs, Ridley, Shaheed, and tight end is Jawan. Yeah, I'm not making... I want the McBride side of this if your tight end is Jawan. Between McBride and T-Mac, I think probably people are preferring McBride, but it's close. So I'll take the McBride side of that if your tight end's going to be Jawan Johnson. Again, just answering questions at random in the chat. Appreciate y'all for being here with us. What are my thoughts on Devonta Smith for the next 2 to 3 weeks? You know, I'm being genuine when I say this. Kind of my same thoughts since before the year began. It's up and down every week. It's up and down. That's the nature of this offense. This team is at its best when its defense is firing on all cylinders, when it's running the ball effectively, and when they're throwing when they need to. And that's hard to hear for Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown owners, but that is when this team is at their best. So, they face the Giants this week. I'm a little concerned of how needed these receivers are going to be. Yeah. Let me know if that's helpful. Okay. I think we're back up. Let me see. I think we're back up. Okay. We are back and good to go on the Flock site. Apologies for the delay, guys. Shout out to the devs for a quick fix. Again, I'm answering all your questions on the Flock Fantasy site. You can submit a couple different ways. Probably the best way is by being a season pass member. Use the code LAND at sign up. It's a $34 one-time purchase. When you do, you get some vouchers to come on the stream. You'll get unlimited access to the rankings, both myself and all the creators on the site, rest of season weekly rankings, as well as all the premium tools on the Flock site. I'm going to answer all these questions on the site, prioritize them. It was awesome to get into the YouTube chat for a second. But you can see that link in the chat as well. That's pinned if you want to submit a question to me as well. All right, what's up, Kieran? He says, willing to add Smith, Allen, or Trey as a third. Ignore waivers. One team is a bot. Okay. So Brock Purdy, Chase Brown, May, Brian Thomas. And what was the question? He says, willing to add Smith, Allen, or Trey as a third. Smith, Allen, Trey. You're willing to add Smith, Allen, Trey. Who is Allen? As in Keenan? Don't throw Keenan Allen in this. Devonta Smith, Allen, or Trey. So who would Trey be? Trey. No. Devonta Smith, Keenan Allen, and Travion Henderson are not throw-ins in a trade like this. I love Drake May. But, yeah, I would much rather just stream the quarterback position than give up that much in a trade like this. And again, I love Drake May, but I mean, is Matthew Stafford available? He has a great matchup this week. There's plenty of streamable names in most of these leagues. So, yeah, no, hard pass for me. If you can do the trade straight up, yeah, but not if you've got to include one of those names. Enchanting would send away Wilson for CD. Yeah, I got no problem with this, especially if you're a competitive team already, like 3-2, 4-1, 5-0, and you can wait on CD to come back. I've got no problem with it. Raw B says AJ for Kittle or Zay Addison for Kittle or neither. AJ for Kittle or Zay and Addison for Kittle or neither. Probably would prefer to give up AJ then if you can get Kittle here. Yeah, your tight end spot is not good. And AJ Brown is not good. So, look, AJ Brown's going to have plenty of blow-up games this year. He really is. It's just going to be unpredictable. But, yeah, I'm going to take Kittle there. If you can afford to wait on him. Donald, what's up, man? Flipped Lad for Brees, then Brees for Rome. Nice. That's hot. We're going to start Jaden Daniels. And then at your wide receiver spot, we're going to start Tetaroa McMillan. I thought you said you had Rome. You didn't trade Rome for Tetaroa, did you? Please tell me you didn't do that, brother. As a T-Mac owner myself, I hope you did not do that. Would much prefer Rome rest of season, but if that's done, it's done. This team is still very good. Still a very good lineup. I was with you, man. You went Lad to Brees. I'm like, yeah, that's hot. Brees to Rome. Oh, that's awesome. Rome to Tet? I don't know. I don't know. I don't like that, but I love the starting lineup anyway. We've got a great team. Would love to fit Bill or Brees in there, but you've already got a great lineup, my dude. So love the team. Filthy Wubs, what's up, brother? He is sending away Judkins and Laporta for Saquon. Laporta's a fine option, but he will be a streamer at times. He'll be up, he'll be down. If I'm not mistaken, you have Mason Taylor. I'm indifferent on this. I just don't think that there's actually good streamable tight ends. I think if we had one more week from Mason Taylor where it's like, okay, yeah, he's going to be a streamer. We're going to be able to start him every week. Then I would be comfortable to do this. But I think you might need to see that first. But if you want to bet on Mason Taylor being that guy, I don't have a problem if you have that confidence in him. What's up, Jonah? Longtime supporter. He says, traded Pickens and J. Will for Nico and Ferg. Want to flip Nico for more depth. Think this is doable. If not, who should I trade for with Nico, or do I hold him? So traded Pickens and J. Will, meaning Jameson or Javonte, I don't know, for Nico and Ferg. Now you want to flip Nico for depth. Think this is doable. If not, who should I trade for with Nico, or do I hold him? Look, I think, Jonah, you really value transparency. And transparently, I can't think of a soul that would accept this trade. Right? Nico is far more being equivalent to Judkins or Rome. I don't see a scenario in which you get both. And this is not anti-Nico. It's just Rome's that dude. Right? I mean, Rome is that guy. I'm not sure the Roma Dunze owner is even going to give you Roma Dunze after his bye week's done. So I don't think that's a realistic offer. Now, we can think of a counter together. In a start 7, though, do you really need depth? I guess with Benson going down, you're probably struggling there, but your starting lineup is Goff, Achane, Walker, Nico, Jefferson, Ferguson, Ekbuka. I mean, if everybody just stays healthy, that's a monster. If you're wanting to make a move, we got to be more realistic. Yeah. I would say you could maybe sneak like Judkins and Brian Thomas, but you're going to have to give back something like Travis Hunter or Alec A.O. Manor at minimum. Something. And even then, I'm not sure that gets accepted. Maybe you can do that same deal, but it's Tetaroa instead. Yeah, that would be a couple ideas. Otherwise, maybe you need to hold Nico and hope that he reaches. Like, I'm not sure Nico's going to reach alpha status this year. I don't know. The offense is so weird. He's going to be a great player, but I don't think anyone's sold on him being the alpha anymore that he used to be. Just last year, right? Yeah, I think Nico, more realistically, if we're looking like rest of season, you're probably going to be looking at, let's see, where's Nico? Okay. Realistically, you could probably get like a Tetaroa and Kamara, maybe a Worthy and Chuba, Alave Chuba, maybe. If someone's not sold on JCM, maybe like JCM DK. Yeah, right now, you know, Nico's probably not going to do that for you. I'm sorry, brother. I'm frustrated that they're holding Nico back like this. But hopefully that's helpful, dude. Ray would send away Dobbins and Debo for Monty and Rice. Dobbins and Debo for Monty and Rice. I view Monty and Dobbins pretty similarly. I do prefer Rice over Debo when Terry's healthy. So I don't see a reason not to take this trade, especially if you can wait on Rice. Wilson, 12-team full PPR. He won't send Judkins. Do I just hold? What is the benefit for you in this deal, man? There's no rational reason you would make this trade. So if this is the most he's willing to give up, and yeah, I'm doing air quotes because it's ridiculous, then no, you're not doing this trade. What's the point? You're basically giving a free Mike Evans. No, absolutely not doing this trade. That's silly. You can send this time code to him. That's silly. Went to Jared. This must be you then. You said he offered it to me. A lot of people said to take it. Why? Why did they say to take it? What's the reason? Do they know Tyrone Tracy might play Thursday? I'm the biggest Cam Scottaboo guy you'll find, but Tyrone's going to have a role. What exactly is the upside here of you losing basically a free Mike Evans on your roster? I don't understand that. TJ says, hey, I saw you answer my question. Just to clarify, I did not trade Rome for Tet. Traded Brees for Rome and was asking who to start, Tet or Rome. Okay, start Rome then. I apologize if I read that wrong. Start Rome. Maybe the trade just hasn't gone through yet. I'm not sure. Okay, went to Jared. Yeah. Guys, just make sure when you're submitting questions, you include any context that you think I might need to know. Like if you're sending a trade question, if it's already done and it's processing, let me know because it's going to be hard to know what Sleeper doesn't tell us that it's processing as a trade, right? Went to Jared, says drop Ertz, rate team. What should I get? Los Angeles running back or as RB? Okay. At quarterback, we're going to start Drake May this week versus the Saints. Then you've got Chase, London, Kraft. At your last flex spot, this is going to be Garrett Wilson. Don't love his matchup. Actually like Diggs' matchup more, but I have more trust built with Garrett Wilson. Team's great. I don't see a reason that you wouldn't be happy with this team. You can drop Ertz now that Kraft is back from the bye. And if you want to see, Haskins, you know, I'm not willing to spend any more than like 10 to 15% of my fab. I don't want to be too aggressive because I just think it'll be a split backfield. And with that offensive line in LA, I think they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. But yeah, appreciate you, man. Great team. Thanks for letting me look at it. Your what hurts. I know you mentioned that. Oh gosh, let's redo this then. Hold on one second, guys. Okay. Oh, did that go through? Okay, no, sorry. I just answered this, went to Jared. So if you're seeing this later on a time code, just scroll back in the stream about 60 seconds to a minute, and we talk through your team and your lineup. Your what hurts? What's up, brother? Okay, so you're saying these are the same questions. That's okay. Same questions, but you have different contexts here. I'm going to give you a free start sit question to come back at some point if you submitted twice. He says, I'm going after Kraft and JCM tonight on the waivers. We'll drop Chuba for JCM. It's an 8-team league. Bowers on the trade block. Yeah. You're not going to get much for Bowers right now, unfortunately. But I love that you could potentially get Kraft and JCM. I'd start JCM straight into your lineup. Look, Scatterboo is... I would start Kamara over Scatterboo if Tracy's healthy. If Tracy's healthy and ready to go, I still like Scat, but I would rather start Kamara. And I'd start JCM over Kamara if you end up getting him. At your flex spot, this is probably Johnston. Last caveat here, if Chuba Hubbard plays, he's playing over Kamara for me and JCM with the matchup that they've got versus Dallas. Appreciate you, my dude. Thanks for the constant support. Thanks for always being here, showing some love. Pretty sure that was the same question, yeah. What's up, Physicality? He says, at quarterback between Dak and Baker, we're going to go Baker there. Bijan, Josh, Egbuka, you know, especially when you get that free stack. At tight end, I guess you have got Jake Ferguson and Tyler Warren. Wow. How do you sit one of these names? It's funny because I feel like the only people who are happy with their tight end are the Jake Ferguson and Tyler Warren owners. And I have no idea how you sit one of these guys. I'll probably lean Jake Ferguson, but it's hard to sit Tyler Warren, man. And then at running back, oh, wow. Or at the flex spot. My goodness. Oh, dude. This is impossible to answer. Genty versus the Titans. And a Dunze versus the Commanders. Man, I probably lean Genty, but a Dunze versus the Commanders is hot too. I guess I'm gonna lean Genty there. That's tough, dude. Parm Bijan says, this is a trade I've received. Loved the content, man. So you'd be sending away Bucky and Marv for Swift, McMillan, and Ertz. No, thank you. We are going to say thanks for the offer, but no thank you. There is zero reason for you to take this trade. When Bucky is back, he's a top 8 running back rest of season at minimum. With DeAndre Swift, we don't know how long Ben Johnson's going to be okay with mediocrity. That's exactly what you're getting from DeAndre Swift. One game where he's averaging over 3.5 yards per carry. One single game. So I'm not looking to buy DeAndre Swift. If anything, they should get Kyle Monangai more opportunities. And then between Tet and Marvin, pick your poison, right? Pick your poison between those guys. But yeah, hard pass. Bucky and Marv as a package are worth far more than what you're getting. Far more. Dana, what's up? Sending away Jordan Mason and Jameson Williams for Baker and T. Higgins. Look, between T. Higgins and Jameson Williams rest of season, even with Joe Flacco, it's a coin flip. It really is. If you have running back depth and you need a quarterback upgrade, you have Kyler Murray. You have enough depth at running back to do this. Aaron Jones should be back at some point. Preparing for a week 8 return is what they said not too long ago. Yeah, I mean, look, I understand with you having Kyler. I'm fine with this. Probably make this move and then go pick up Joe Mixon if you can for free. I'm indifferent. I'm completely indifferent on this. If you want to, you know, lose Jordan Mason because you have the depth, I'm fine with that. Wilson says, my team chalked. Injuries hurt me. Do I sell high on Monty Brown plus Dowdle? For who? Sell Jaden Daniels? Okay. Look, I can't give you a full team review here, but I can give you a brief overview. You're asking if you should send away Monty Dowdle. Right now, I can only speak to my fantasy leagues. Most people are viewing Dowdle as like a 1 week play if Hubbard's fine. We're not viewing Dowdle as like a long-term playable name, right? I can see why you're in a tough spot. A lot of these players have not done well for you. Jaden Daniels would be a hold for me. But if you can move Dowdle, Chase Brown is a hold. But right now you're probably starting Daniels, Henry, Monty, Egbuka, Johnston, Kelsey, Moore. So if you can send like Dowdle and DJ in a package, that's pretty interesting. If you can find a running back needy team, then that would be my goal for you, Wilson. So you package Dowdle and DJ Moore, find a running back needy team, and then get a wide receiver that you can rely on, right? So Dowdle and DJ Moore together, can you get a Michael Pittman, Xavier Worthy, Johnston, Waddle? Can you bet on a Brian Thomas, a Debo, a Zay, a Marvin, a T-Mac, a Pickens? You know, some of these names, it can be a 2 for 2 if you go after names like Keenan and those type of names. So that would probably be, I think, your best move there, my dude. Hopefully that's helpful. Your What Hurts says, plan to pick up Kraft JCM on the waivers tonight. Okay, so yeah, I think we answered that one. Let me know if your What Hurts is in the chat here. Apple says, my commander bias says Bill in the flex, but I don't know. Hey, we all deal with that bias. Well, you've got to start CMC. You've got to start Gibbs. My God. At wide receiver, Adunze's in. Adams is in. I couldn't sit London for JCM. Look, love JCM. I want him in my roster as well. If you want to play JCM, look, fantasy should be fun. You can have fun. There's totally a reality where JCM outscores London, but I would find it tough to sit London. I think you got to take bias out of it. Myth or Filthy Wubs. Starting Josh Allen, David Montgomery, Jacobs, Pittman, Amon-Ra, Warren, James Cook, and in the flex, you need help between names like Carter, Smith, Ladd. So really, we have to choose 2 of these names. Devonta Smith goes up against the Giants. My concern, and I can't guarantee this will be the case, but my concern is that they won't need to throw the ball much against the Giants. That's my concern, man. So I have Ladd at 24. I have Devonta at 26. They're both fine options. You know, with Michael Carter facing the Colts, maybe you just start both receivers. Let's ask the chat. Who do you guys want to start this week? Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith or Michael Carter? I want to know. I want to know your opinion. Would you rather start Michael Carter or Devonta Smith? Badaki's not feeling well, so he'll be back soon. He's just not feeling well today. Michael Carter or Devonta Smith? Tough to sit a guy that just touched the ball 23 times. And his main competition fumbled the ball at the 1 yard line. Hard to sit that guy, right? Well, the chat is pretty confident on Michael Carter there, so with the volume, I understand. We'll probably go with the chat there and go Michael Carter. See, I like doing it this way because if I'm wrong, then the accountability is not just on me, right? Come back and yell at the chat. Just jokes, right? Just jokes. Bang Bang says, need help with my flex. It's 2 slots. Let's have a geese then, shall we? Okay, I think you submitted this weirdly, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You submitted this as a start 10, but it's a start 8. So I will answer this. I understand your question. Just so you know in the future, probably the easier way for you to do this is to link your team on the My Teams page, whether that is Sleeper, ESPN, or Yahoo. Follow the steps. And then once you have your team linked, you go to start sit, and it'll automatically include your settings. And all you got to do is like, okay, I'm locked in on Bo Nix this week. Then it knows what team you have. And then at every position, tell me who you're considering. Because right now you've submitted it as like a start 10 league. But I think I understand what your question is. Your question is, who do I flex between Johnston, Olave, Dowdle, and Higgins? Now, here's what I'll say to start. If Tyrone Tracy is playing and Chuba Hubbard is out, I would rather start Dowdle over Scatterboo. Okay. So let's start there. So let's play that reality out, where in this reality, Tyrone Tracy is playing and Chuba Hubbard is not. Well, then you're starting Dowdle over Scatterboo. And then in your flex, I would go Johnston and Olave. Now, in the event that Tyrone Tracy is out, I am probably then starting Scatterboo, Dowdle if Hubbard's out, and Johnston. Now, in the event that Tyrone Tracy is out, but Hubbard is in, we are then starting in our flex Olave and Johnston. So I think we've covered all of our bases there. If you have Hubbard too, and this is your team, Philip, then you might as look. If Scatterboo's the only running back, you can play him, and then no matter what, you play one of those running backs in your flex with Johnston. But if Tyrone Tracy is playing, then I wouldn't play him. I'd rather start Dowdle or Hubbard, and then Olave and Johnston. Wow, we covered so many bases there. Wilson says, also got Fab. Other wide receivers, Egbuka, QJ, Aoman, or Horton. So is this a trade that's completed? Oh, no, but you're good, man. I wanted to cover all your bases. Is Wilson in the chat? Is this a trade that's already been completed? I'm kind of indifferent. It's been proposed. Okay. So right now you have Mike and Caleb. What's your record? What's your record when you have Mike and Caleb? You also have Justin Herbert. Right now you're going to start Herbert, Saquon, Kyron, Johnston, McBride. I guess you have to put Ellick in. And then your two flexes are going to be Monty and Rashad for this week. You're 4-1. Look, I think this is relatively even. Maybe you can ask for something small in return. You know, like, can they give you a Jerry Jeudy? I know it's not fun. A Jerry Jeudy, a Kareem Hunt, an RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey would be ideal. Maybe make that counter. But I'm not opposed to this. It's just when Mike Evans is back, this is why I asked what your record is. You're 4-1. You don't really need to make this move, right? When Mike Evans is back, you're going to prefer Evans and Caleb as a package over Pittman. But it's pretty fair. Okay, I think we are all caught up on the questions finally. That's crazy. We can do some team reviews at this point, I think. Okay, sorry, we have one more from Jehu. He is starting Hurts, Bijan, Taylor, Amon-Ra, at wide receiver 2. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. Well, you can't sit JSN. Oh my gosh, man. What the hell am I supposed to tell you? What am I supposed to tell you? Brother, I am starting Keon Coleman and Zach Charbonnet in the Flock League. And you've got Javonte Williams, Judkins, Sutton, Adunze, Igbuka, Pittman on your bench. I have no idea. I have no idea what the right answer is here. This is Russian roulette. How do you sit any of these names? You put all these names in a hat outside of Pittman and Kincaid. And then you close your eyes and you choose one. No, like truthfully, between Javonte, Judkins, Adunze, Igbuka, I have no idea. You want honesty? This is honesty. I have no idea who scores more points. Truthfully, I don't know. Put all the names into a hat and pick one. Now, logically, you know that Judkins and Javonte are going to touch the ball the most. So, I guess Javonte Williams. My gosh, that is tough. If you guys are in smaller leagues like that, you know, talk to your commissioner about extending the roster size. You know, because you got to make it a real competitive advantage somehow for smarter players by making it a 4-flex league or something, you know. As a Thoth, it would send away Charbonnet and Harrison for Keon and Adams. I do prefer Adams over Marvin. I prefer Charbonnet over Keon. This is pretty fair. You're both giving something to get something. I'm fine with that. Physicality has Baker, Jacobs, Judkins, JSN, Puka, Trey McBride. And then at the flex, this would be Keenan for me. Actually, this would be Rashad if Bucky's not playing. If Bucky plays, it's Keenan, but I don't think Bucky plays. Although, you know, you can never rule anything out, right? Seeing if I have any counters to trades I've sent. Okay, I think we can finally get into some team reviews. Is that right? Or do we have any other submissions here? Look, okay, we have a submission here from G Carcati. I'm probably saying that wrong. What we'll do is we'll jump into team reviews after this, and then you guys can keep submitting questions if you have them on the site, and I'll just kind of bump back and forth between the two, right? So he says, Gibbs RB1, bunch of waiver wire running backs on the bench, 5-0 at the moment. You would send away Walker for Stevenson and Hampton. Yeah, if you're 5-0, I see no reason to not wait on Hampton here. Like Walker, if both of those guys are healthy, it's going to be a split backfield. So when Hampton is back, I don't see how he's not the dude for that team. So I am fine with that. Okay, let's jump into Nightwing's review. This is a Dynasty. Both are Dynasty teams. Okay, so we'll do a couple of these reviews. Appreciate y'all for being here with us. Shout out to Nightwing. I'm pretty sure Nightwing's gotten a review from us before, so it's awesome to see you back here wanting some more opinions from us. I always love to see when, you know, people get reviews and then they come back because they see the value in it. So I appreciate you big time, my dude. I'm going to set up your thing on the back end here. You will be 550. And then let's copy your username. And let's paste that here. And then we've got one for Jake as well. We'll do both of your reviews today. So that would make Jake 551. Cool. Awesome. All right, let's get into it. I'm going to review some fantasy teams, gang. You guys can get your team reviewed, whether it's a dynasty team, redraft team. We can review whatever sort of team you have. Keeper league, all right, we can do whatever you've got. If you want some advice, we've got you. Now, anybody who gets a review with the Fantasyland crew also gets a team playbook. Now, if you want the team playbook, you want a customized review for your fantasy team, then all you have to do is use our promo code LAND to become an annual Mother Flocker member. That will give you a voucher that you can use through the Flock store. Now, you can still get a team review from us if you're not a member with the promo code LAND. You just have to buy it a la carte through the Flock store. And then if you're a season pass member with the promo code LAND, you can actually upgrade to an annual Mother Flocker membership. It'll take the price off of your season pass, and then you'll get that, that free voucher. Okay, let's jump into Nightwing here. So Nightwing says, lost Hampton, Benson, Neighbors, Henderson sucks. So I have to start Bill as my RB2 until Hampton, Benson come back. Do I trade for another running back or a wide receiver to flex? I don't like my depth to win now. Derrick Henry, Mike Evans, Debo, Keenan Allen on the trade block. Dobbins and Pollard may be options too. His name is CTE All-Star. You're ranked first significantly in our rankings. This is a 1 quarterback, 10 team start 8. So we would call your starting lineup meat and potatoes. It's nothing too crazy. 2 flex spots. That's actually one of the most standard formats outside of like the start 7, right? Now, let's have a look at your team. So you've got Drake May, great quarterback room with Jaden Daniels, Drake May, McCarthy. Oh my God, that running back room is crazy. The wide receiver room is ridiculous. Brother, oh my gosh. What a crazy team. Right now with injuries, you're probably starting Jaden, Genty. I mean, Bill Croskey is not a bad start. So you're starting Bill, but look at all those running backs, man. You're also starting Puka and JSN, McBride. And then your 2 flexes are Adunze and one of Marvin Harrison Jr. or one of these running backs like Henderson or, you know, Charbonnet or Benson when he's back or Woody when his role grows. Dude, this team is ridiculous. Ridiculous. You know, obviously you have some injuries, but we're talking about a dynasty team. So Malik Neighbors, you'll have him next year, right? I understand that injury is significant, but less than 1% of all teams that have ever been submitted for a dynasty review have been given the Thanos tag. My friend, I think you are going to join the 1% of elite dynasty teams that are just Thanoses. I don't know how this isn't a Thanos. How do I not give this team an A+? Genuinely. How do I not give this team an A+? Where are they weak? They've got the number 1 quarterback room, the number 1 running back room, the number 1 wide receiver room, the number 2 tight end room, but you have Trey McBride. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 startable running backs. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide receivers in my top 16 of my rankings. I think you are joining the elite few as a Thanos dynasty team. So there is absolutely no reason to go out there and not compete, right? You are an absolute superstar, okay? You should feel very proud of the team that you built. Now, you don't have much draft capital this year, but you still have 2 firsts in 2027. So I'm going to put your draft capital grade at like a B+. You're still in a pretty good spot. Your untouchables are going to be Puka Nacua, Ashton Genty. Probably no reason for you to move Malik Neighbors with the team that you have. Should we add JSN into that? Maybe we should add JSN, Jaden Daniels, right? There's so many untouchables on your team. Now, as far as holds for your team, I would probably hold on names like Matthew Golden. Wait to see if he breaks out. Woody Marks, Bashul Tootin, Trey Benson. Easy drops. I mean, look, you can drop Jalen Warren if you need to drop a name. You can drop Isaac Orindo if you need to drop a name. But again, you don't really need to do that because your waiver wire is pretty naked. I have no, there's no names here that I would tell you to pick up. Maybe Isaiah Davis. Maybe that's one name. Right, with the Braylon Allen injury. But That waiver wire is butt-ass naked, my friend. Wow. What a killer team, dude. What an absolute killer team. Thinking about the rookie haul that you would have gotten with this class. So you would have had Ashton Genty. You would have had Amarion Hampton, Travion Henderson, Bashul Tootin, JCM, Woody Marks. Oh my gosh, look at the draft class you had here, man. Kyle Monangai. You would have added Matthew Golden. Deontay Thornton is part of that class, I guess. I guess Gadsden. So looking at the rookies that you brought in, superstar rookie squad, man. Hopefully, you know, you weren't freaking out too much in the first couple weeks with, you know, the Genty, Hampton, Henderson's not working out. I would say that's a solid A draft class there. Okay, let's think of some ideas. You said that Derrick Henry, Mike Evans, Debo, Keenan Allen are all in the trade block. To be honest, dude, I just don't know that you really need to make a move, man. It's a start 8. You've got enough pieces to put a roster together. I just don't see a reason for you to make a move here. You have so much young, elite talent. Again, you're starting Daniels, Genty. You're 5-0. You can wait for Hampton to be back. So let's just not even talk about injuries right now outside of Neighbors, right? Right now, I'm looking at a team that, when it matters in the playoffs, will have Daniels, Genty, Hampton, Puka, JSN, McBride. And you're flexing names like Roma Dunze and Marvin Harrison, or Roma Dunze and JCM, or Trey Benson. There's no reason to make a move, dude. You're 5-0. You're an absolute superstar. What move should you make? There's not one that exists that you should make. I mean, look, if you want to spend that second round pick on one of these veterans, sure, right? I'm not sending a first. I'm not sending a first. You don't need to. You just don't need to. But if you want to send a second for Debo Samuel and have an extra flex, if you want to send a second for Derrick Henry and have an extra flex, I wouldn't send a second for Mike Evans with the retirement claims or Keenan Allen with his age. But if you want to send multiple thirds for a Keenan Allen or multiple thirds for a Mike Evans, sure, you can do stuff like that. But, dude, look at your team, man. You do not need to make any moves. You are part of the 1%, the elite 1% that has a Thanos. You almost never see that, man. That's why it only happens 1% of the time. So, congratulations on the badass team that you built, but I don't think you need to make any move, if I'm being honest. You are more than equipped to wait out the injuries that you've got, and you're going to win a lot of titles in this league. You're going to win a lot of titles, my guy. That was awesome. I mean, we very rarely see Thanos's, but it's always fun when we do see one. They're like a very rare bird. Like if you were a bird watcher, you're like, oh, that's the rarest bird you'll ever find. Okay. Do we have any questions that have gone through? This might be the last review of the day. Just going to double check real quick. Have a nice little refresh. Sorry, my wife is at Costco and she's sending me a photo. This is going to sound really weird to you guys. I know like 95% of our audience is North America, but she's sending me a photo of Canada Dry Ginger Ale. And she's like, Zach, they have a 24 pack of Canada Dry Ginger Ale for $34. And it's going to sound insane to you guys, but that is like an incredible deal. So please go get the ginger ale. Yes, babe, please. Again, I know that probably sounds insane, but okay. Question here from Carlos. Should he send away Judkins for Carter and Nico? Carter, look, Carter is only useful while Benson is out. Judkins and Nico are pretty even. You don't have your team linked. Look, if you're stacked at running back, sure. I think every time I get a trade like this that comes through, I have to remind y'all that with the amount of injuries that have happened in fantasy football this year, it is so hard to find a running back. It's so hard. So the running back owner needs to be aggressive and needs to be stingy with their running backs. And as much as I love Nico Collins, I'm probably preferring Judkins rest of the year. And I should probably go ahead and reflect that in my rest of season rankings. I typically look at positional. I don't typically look as much at like overall, but I do need to put like Ginty ahead of him, Judkins ahead of him, right? Because it's just too hard to find running backs like Judkins, man. It's just too hard. So I probably wouldn't do this unless you're just really stacked. But I imagine you put Judkins on the trade block, you would have a lot of interesting offers, even better than Nico maybe. And I hate to say that, but the way they're using Nico is depressing. Okay, let's do this last team review, unless we get any other questions that come through. Appreciate you, Jake. Thanks for being here with us, my guy. He says, I'm looking to set myself up to compete for the next 3 seasons. I definitely have the assets to do that. I just don't know where to start. So it sounds like you're wanting to rebuild. Your team name is Daddy Schlong Leg. You're currently 0-5. So if you're trying to rebuild, you're doing it the right way. You haven't won a single game. You have 1, 2, 3, and to the fall. You have 3 first in 26. You have 1, 2, 3 first in 2027. Brother, you finished it by saying, I don't know where to start. I think you've already started. You've got 6 first-round picks in the next 2 years. You know? I mean, you've already started, man. This is definitely a full rebuild. Okay? Your draft capital grade, I'm going to give you an A+. You've got a great amount of draft capital. You are, as I said, a full rebuild, no doubt about it. This is a Superflex start 10, which is our middle ground. Okay. Superflex start 10. And overall team grade as of today, dude, there are so many rebuilds that are... We see Dynasty teams all the time that need to rebuild, and they're in such a terrible position. You are not one of those teams, man. You're just not. In a Superflex league as a rebuilder, you already have Drake May, Caleb, and JJ. Your quarterback room is beautiful. And at wide receiver, you already have Rice, Adunze, Egbuka, Marvin, Burden. That's awesome, man. All you got to do is figure out running back and tight end in the next couple years. You are set up for uber success, my dude. I would give your team grade. Obviously, you're not ready to compete right now, but with the assets that you have, including draft capital and the way you set yourself up, easily a B+. I'm gonna go B+ here. This is not a bad team. It's just not ready to compete, right? That's the way Dynasty works sometimes. Now, as far as untouchables, that's probably going to... Look, you don't have any true untouchables, but right now, let's just say Rome Odunze and Emeka Egbuka, because they're on the way to being that. As far as holds, Luther Burden, you're going to want to hold on to him. JJ McCarthy, these are 2 very, very solid holds. Easy drops. You have, like, brother, why is Deshaun... Even for morale, why is Deshaun Watson on the team? Even for morale. Look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm a better manager than this. This scumbag's off my team. All right. That's mostly a joke in case the sarcasm isn't coming through. But I'm not joking about cutting him. I am serious about cutting him. Gabe Davis, you're gone. Wow, your league is way too deep, man. I don't even know who these people are. Who the hell is Jordan Watkins? Oh, he's with the Niners, right? Kanata Mumfield. No idea who that is, dude. Who the hell is Kanata Mumfield? Is that the kid out of Pittsburgh? Okay. So he's like the wide receiver 6 in Los Angeles. Look, when you have the wide receiver 6 and 7s rostered, probably too deep of a league. Y'all gotta limit some of the bench spaces, man. The waiver wire has got to be, oh my God, this is the most disgusting waiver wire I've ever seen. Is Keandre Lambert-Smith, brother? How is Keandre out there with how deep your spots are? Yeah, let's go pick up Keandre Lambert-Smith. Come on now. Jared Wiley's not a terrible pickup if you've got space. Yeah. Okay. We've done most of the admin there. Okay. So, thinking through your rookie draft this year, your haul was Jalen Milroe, which Sam Darnold, he's that dude right now. He ain't losing that job, y'all. Jordan James, a bunch of nobodies, really. I don't even want to write down some of these names. We'll write down, out of respect, obviously, Emeka Egbuka, Luther Burden, Jalen Knoll. How about Jalen Knoll? Where's my Knoll truthers at getting into the end zone? Can we just cut Christian Kirk? Can we cut Kirk and Hutchinson? That's crazy I'm saying that as a former Hutchinson lover. Deontay Thornton is there. Hey, where's my Jack Besh people at? I saw Jack Besh get on the field. Come on now. Look, I'm not going to write down all the rookies that you've got because you got a lot, but you didn't really, like, Egbuka's the main piece here. Right? Egbuka's the main piece that you added, as well as Burden. So, not a bad little haul there, but not game-changing outside of Egbuka. And obviously, that's not minimizing Egbuka's impact. It's just being real about your overall haul. Right? Now, let's think of some ideas. What is your trade capital? I mean, you've got great draft capital right now. Here's the hard part about teams like this, guys. You know, when teams are submitted, they're clearly a full rebuild, and they have no veterans. Really, the next step is what you've already been doing, which is to just hold. You know what I mean? I mean, am I really going to tell you on a rebuilder to sell any of May, Caleb, JJ, Rice, Adunze, Egbuka, Marvin Burden? No. Why would I? These are guys that you want to build around long term. It makes no sense. None of your running backs have any value. There's really not a trade to be made with this team. What trade? Like, someone tell me in the chat, what trade does this team do? I have no idea. As a rebuilding dynasty team, you don't make a trade with this team. You hold. At least I can't think of a trade that makes sense. The harder part is, like, there's no names here that people have interest outside of the guys you're building around. I'm not going to tell you to sell Marvin. I'm not going to tell you to sell Egbuka or Adunze or Rice. If anything, are there some guys that you could try and buy low on that are already injured? So, like, you're a team that could send a second and go get a Trey Benson. Okay, just give me a second. We're trying to cook. I'm trying to cook something out of nothing here. Trey Benson. I wouldn't be opposed to trying to go get a Malik Neighbors. So that looks like, shoot, you can wait on it. Can you send Marvin Harrison for Malik Neighbors? Can you do something like that? Right? These are the type of moves where you just know it'll pay off long term, but it's not going to help your roster this year, which you're okay to do something like that. Yeah, Trey Benson, I don't mind sending a second for him. I don't mind if it has to be a second and a third. Obviously, if you're trying to acquire Trey Benson, you're not going to give a first, but if you have Benson, you're not going to sell for a second. So, are Are there any other injured players this year that would make sense? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Like, who else has been injured? You could try and go buy a Travion Henderson. If there's a late first, could you try and go get a Henderson? So look, guys that are underperforming, guys that haven't lived up to the expectations yet, but are young that you can kind of build around where, you know, you see some sort of improvement. But look, you're in a really great spot, Jake. You're on the right track already. Just don't be afraid to keep doing what you're doing, man. You've been killing it. Appreciate you big time. Bowers is not a bad one as well. Yeah, you could look to try and send like a single first for Bowers. That's not a bad idea either. All right, guys, I think we caught up to the stream finally. I appreciate you guys big time. I have a lot to do today. It's a big old day of recording content and researching for y'all. And today is the stash video prep day and record day. And appreciate y'all big time for being here with me. And all of the start sits are out, right? So the running back start sit video, the wide receiver start sit video, that's all out on the stream. I appreciate you guys. Nothing but love. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Come check us there. Get your questions in on the site beforehand so you jump the queue.